Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the Foolish Fish Esoteric News with your weekly updates on the worlds of esoteric and occult book publishing and arts and events and paraphernalia. Thank you so much for joining me once again for another one of these editions. I really appreciate you coming to spend some time with me, and thank you to miskatonicbooks.com for sponsoring the show. My goodness, where would we be without miskatonicbooks.com's sponsorship? We all appreciate it so much. Thank you, Miskatonic Books. So for those of you who don't know miskatonicbooks.com, just head straight over there right now, folks. Go down to the description of this video. You'll find the link, and it'll take you to a cornucopia of esoteric and occult book delights. Books that have been published a long time ago and that are out of print and very difficult to find, you know, from little independent publishers that maybe have made the book available only in a few copies that they were able to afford to make, right? And you have to remember that these are very, very niche topics. And it's not always these, you know, gigantic corporations publishing these. It's very often just individuals who've got enough money to maybe produce 100 copies of a book, and then, you know, hoping that these will in fact sell. And so so very often you end up with very, very small runs on really interesting topics, but only interesting for a few people like you and me, right? And so yes, all of these are available on at miskatonicbooks.com. They also have their own imprint, quite a couple of imprints, if I remember correctly, but the one that I'm particularly interested in is Azoth Press, the ones who released the book that I reviewed just last night, Offerings to Isis. But also is this one over here, the Thai Occult, parts 1 and 2, by the way, Gateways Through Stone and Circle, also Gateways Through Light and Shadow. Very, very cool stuff, and yeah, you're going to love it. Head over there and go and enjoy and see all the good stuff that they have. All right, folks, let's see. We're going to start off with news from Anathema Publishing, who are making Kurukula available as a paperback, and this is very exciting news. As you can see, they've received the copies, and they're ready to ship. So that's excellent news for anyone who maybe saw my review a couple of years ago of the original hardcover, which is so beautiful, but sold out a long time ago, and there's been quite a lot of demand to get this very important book on the topic of the Tibetan goddess Kurukula, the goddess of enchantment. And of course, true to form, Anathema Publishing have made this available in a very, very beautiful paperback edition. As you'll know, Anathema Publishing care a lot, like way more than even the most attentive publishers. It's just another level how much care and attention to detail they bring to the presentation and to the quality of the materials that they use in their books, right? I mean, these are sacred texts. These are important esoteric texts, and they feel like they should reside in beautiful vessels. And so even when they're publishing a paperback like this, its quality is going to be so much higher than the hardcovers of most publishers that you know. And yeah, you can tell that this is the case here already, you know, with Smithsonian paperback and yeah, gold stamp on the paperback. Is just really gorgeous stuff, and very, very nice. So you can head over to anathemapublishing.com and find Kurukula as a paperback for very, very reasonable price, given the quality and the nature of what you're getting here. Very, very lovely stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's sold out pretty much in all editions other than paperback, although let me just check. Yeah, it's sold out. Of course it is. All right, so that paperback of Kurukula, go and check the links down below. You'll find all of that in the description of this video. Next, we've got news from David Rankin, who featured on this week's members access only podcast of Glitch Bottle. So, folks, if you're not already a member on Glitch Bottle's Patreon, go over there right now. You owe it to yourself to be subscribed to Alexander Eth's wonderful podcast. This week, he was interviewing David Rankin. And what was he interviewing him about? You know, this Claves Intelligentiarum that I was raving about last year. Absolutely wonderful introduction to modern grimoire magic for anyone from the absolute beginner to the advanced practitioner wanting to bring in more technique, bring in more deep understanding of what's actually going on when you enter a circle and this kind of stuff. Well, it turns out that David has been working on Claves Spirituum, and I've been lucky enough to receive from David a PDF of this new book, and I can tell you, folks, it's another game changer. I think it's extremely exciting, and he talks about it for a 3-hour session, a little over 3 hours actually, 3 hours 25. It's so interesting, folks. Yeah, so go over to Glitch Bottle, get yourself a subscription. You know, the rates are so inexpensive, so affordable. You will be doing yourself a huge favor. All right, just letting that ambulance go by. Let's see what we have next. We've got news from Matt Hadfield, who's been working alongside Brian Johnson. And this is going to be an upcoming release through Hadean Press. We don't know very much about it. Let me just read for you what Matt has written on Facebook a couple of days ago. My next book in the time, this time a double effort with Brian Johnson, approaches completion as David Rankin puts the finishing touches to it. In the editorial phase, David Rankin, who is working as an editor for Hadean Press, which is very, very cool. Lots of notes, images, citations, and formatting worked out in the past 48 hours. I'm so proud of this contribution we are about to make. Still a while off, as Elizabeth, right, has yet to set her eyes upon what we have completed in this final phase. There'll be more to accomplish. What's wrong with me? There'll be more to accomplish regarding everything on the production side of things. Still, I can't hold back how proud I am of the project, which began many years ago as a terrible manual translation done out of curiosity on my old laptop. A project which then languished on a hard drive collecting digital dust until I plucked up the courage to ask Brian if he'd help me create something meaningful from it. I'm very happy right now. So, yeah, we don't know very much about it. It's being a little cagey, but we do know that it's going to be great stuff. If we've got Matt Hadfield, Brian Johnson, David Rankin editing and published through Elizabeth Bartol's wonderful publisher, Hadean Press, who only put out excellent quality stuff for grimoirists. Very, very excited and curious to see what's going to happen next. Okay, let's move on to news from Matt Oren. So he has released news that there is a hardcover book, and we're getting to see a few early images, early pictures of what it's going to look like on the inside. I love those rounded corners right there. You see, big fan of that. And Matt is telling us a little bit more about the details. So it's hardcover, and all the white on the cover has been replaced with a silver foil. It has a ribbon bookmark, and the interior has blue ink hues added to the original black and white text and art. And you can order copies directly from Llewellyn's site or from your favorite bookseller. And if you're purchasing from Amazon, be sure to select the hardcover in the book format. I'll leave links to all of that down below, of course, and those will be Amazon associate links. The edition is print exclusive, meaning that there won't be a corresponding ebook or Audible version with the updates. What updates, you might ask? Well, there have been a few talking about the impact the book has had on my life since its release and feedback I've received from readers since its release. I've made several edits to clarify certain parts, which I discuss in the new introduction. It also contains excuse me, a new chapter of exercises at the end in the vein of the original last chapter. So all of that is stuff that you can look forward to. And yes, as I say, I'll leave an Amazon associate link, which I will get a small commission for, as will be the case with all the Amazon links down in the description. Very, very exciting stuff from Matt Oren. And for anyone who loved the Psychic Witch book as much as I did, and as I know that many readers did as well. Good. We got news over here from Hildir.com. So Galdrastafir, historical Icelandic magical symbols introduced, yes, over here. And then let's take a quick look at what you might find on the inside. I really like the presentation, just the layout. It just feels clean. I don't know. I like what Hildir do with their books. Very simple, very striking, very clear. Some people might feel like, yeah, there's not enough text or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like this feels respectful, if that makes sense. I think that's really nice. So once again, some more Icelandic magical material. Hildir seems to be doing quite a lot of this, as you can see down here. Quite a lot of very interesting looking Norse and Icelandic material. I pointed out Freya's apples quite recently. Yeah, I'm always kind of interested in what Hildir do. News from Camellia Elias. New moon, new work. If yesterday I got a hot kiln, today a hotter box of books. And now to prepare for the launch of the special edition. So this is kind of what I want to point at. So Scent and Divination was released just a few days ago and is available to purchase on Amazon. But it does seem from this post that Camellia is talking about a special edition. So for those of you who are interested in that, my guess is that if you start following Camellia, if you don't already, on social media, you'll be getting some further details on that in the hopefully upcoming future. So let's see about that. Let's see what it is. It's a book for lovers of cards and smoke, ritual fumigation and incense burning, while touching on historical records of the significance of fragrance in oracular settings. Camellia Elias offers insights into her personal practice with talismanic perfume making and creating original incense recipes on the basis of divination with cards. This book blends the art of cartomancy with the aroma of precious resins, exploring the encounter between people whose identities are fully revealed and the method of reading their cards like the devil. The book ends with an inédit account of, I didn't know that was a word that's used in English, that's cool, account of consulting with a client for a magical fragrance, resulting in a story whose character borders the supernatural. Too good to be true, but nonetheless true. That sounds like fun. Okay, so that's all linked down below, of course. Here's another book that caught my attention this week. I'm always interested in comparative religion studies, and this one seems to be kind of up my street. The first comparative treatment of the topic of Līlā that's probably the wrong pronunciation, forgive me. In Hindu and Christian traditions, this volume explores what it means to consider divine and human action under the categories of play, wit, drama, grace, and compassion. That sounds good to me. That sounds really, really good to me. You know that I have reached magic through the funnel of exploring Christianity, and so I still think of Christianity as very much at the core of my whole being. In fact, or certainly philosophy system. God at Play represents a theological exploration of the multifaceted motif of Līlā across diverse Hindu and Christian landscapes. So again, I do believe that a lot of what's important in Christianity is also present in all of the other religions. What's important to me, maybe, in Christianity is also present in all of the other major religions, certainly their esoteric forms. And a lot of what we call nowadays Hinduism contains a lot of those elements, if not all. Anyway, so let's see. Given its ubiquity in Hindu theologies and life forms, Līlā offers a rich comparative framework for exploring certain ways of understanding divine and human action as expressed in Hindu and Christian sacred texts, philosophical theology, and ritual practices. Though it's often interpreted as simply play, the essays in this volume reflect a far richer semantic and conceptual field, ranging from spontaneity and gratuitousness through joy and humor to mercy and compassion. This sounds like a really interesting thing to be reading about to me, and hopefully some of you agree. We'll see. All right, what's another book that's... So, I don't know. It's very hard to say, right? This one doesn't seem to have a publisher, right? So it seems to be self-published. That's always I don't know. I guess it doesn't alleviate worries from the get-go, right? But nevertheless, the topic seems really interesting. Hyper-Sigil Echoes, How Stories Create Reality Feedback Loops. Okay, so there's a story thinking for you. It runs underneath your choices, beneath your identity, and through the energetic patterns shaping your reality. You didn't write it, you inherited it. But you can change it if you learn how to work with the narrative, not as metaphor, but as magic. Okay, Hyper-Sigil Echoes is an advanced, field-tested system of narrative magic designed for chaos magicians and occultists ready to move beyond static sigils and into living, self-evolving spells. I think that anyone who knows Grant Morrison and his work on the Invisibles will be familiar with the concept of hyper-sigils, and to have a book exploring this sounds interesting, potentially, as long as it's not heavily written by artificial intelligence. There is nothing really here to give away the impression that it is. 54 pages is short. It seems to me like somebody writing a book using only artificial intelligence or heavily relying on artificial intelligence would bump that page count up with just rubbish. I'm very glad to see that this is not the case here. Orbis Mystica is definitely not the author's name. So, you have to balance this out. It's not super expensive, but it is nevertheless Kindle edition, going for just a little over $8. Yeah. Anyway, if any of you do pick this one up, I'd be very curious to know what your thoughts on it is. There aren't any comments yet, there aren't any reviews, but it's definitely an interesting topic. So anyway, I thought I'd bring it to your attention. This is an old book, folks. Witches, werewolves and fairies, shapeshifters and astral doubles in the Middle Ages. Reveals a true nature of medieval belief in the double of the soul. Demonstrates the survival of a pagan belief that each individual owns 3 souls, including a double that can journey outside the physical body. Explains the nature of death and the other world hidden beneath the monsters and superstitions in stories from the Middle Ages. The book remains a strong presence, monsters, werewolves, witches and fairies remain a strong presence in our stories and dreams, but as Claude Lecouteux shows, their roots go far deeper than their appearance in medieval folklore. They are survivors of a much older belief system that predates Christianity and was widespread over Western Europe. I'm always interested in traditional approaches to the nature of the self, the nature of being, the nature of reality. I think that we always have interesting things to glean from those accounts and from those perspectives, from times when a mechanical model of the universe wasn't quite so prevalent, I think that the metaphors that we use for describing how the universe works really has a strong effect on how we then get to understand the universe itself. And I think that it's useful occasionally to switch metaphors just to see if there's anything that we're missing. This book seems like it might explore a little bit of that. Okay, anyway, as I say, it's not a new book, but it's a book that came to my attention this week, and I thought I'd share. Good. Then we've got the Little Book of Intuition, which seems to be a book of exercises for developing your intuition, and this is by Teresa Chung, who I believe she wrote a book that I recently reviewed, possibly on dreams. Was that Teresa Chung? I'm not sure. But anyway, this does seem like a nice little book. It's published by Hadfield. Let's see. Short book, 96 pages. So once again, hopefully it's about tightly packed quality. Beautifully illustrated book, features simple exercises and prompts to help develop your sixth sense for self-healing and personal success. Sounds great. The key to developing your sixth sense is your imagination. Unlock the power of imagination and open yourself to a world of new possibilities. When most people think of sixth sense, they tend to think of an intuitive power. After consideration, it becomes apparent that what we call intuition is not only a mental facility, but also a super sense, the cumulative power of all the senses: sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. As we all possess intuition, we're therefore all able to unify our senses, giving us the power to find meaning in our lives, realize our potential, and achieve personal fulfillment. It sounds possibly useful, right? Certainly worth our attention, I think. Okay, and then there's a few tarot decks that I wanted to show you this week. This is one particular one that I found on Amazon, but the others are on Kickstarter, you'll see. This is called Your First Tarot. So it's a Rider-Waite-Smith deck that has been recolored. I'm not sure about recoloring the Rider-Waite-Smith because the colors themselves in the original are symbolic. That said, this is kind of cute, isn't it? And then what's special about the deck is that each card has got its meaning written on the front. So, this is a deck that you could very easily get into when you're really just getting started, when the color symbolism doesn't doesn't mean very much to you, when you're not aware necessarily of the color correspondences of all the cards, and you're just getting to learn the meaning of each card. This is, I mean, it is cute, isn't it? Possibly a gift for a child, I don't know, or certainly a so-called baby witch. I hate that term, but you know what I mean. People getting started in their magical careers and getting started. I think that the colors are surprisingly appealing. Did I really just say that? I actually kind of like the colors here. It feels playful anyway, so that's nice. It seems to come with a nice oh no, it doesn't come with a nice probably does come with a like a little white book, of course, but there is an accompanying proper hardcover book, so by Victoria Maxwell also, and that's all available that you can purchase as a gift, no doubt. Let's just click on that to get a closer look. Yeah, typical coffee table. Oh, are those cards gilded? They seem to be gilded, excuse me. Yeah, so yeah, and possibly a nice gift. Okay, let's move on to another kind of sweet-looking tarot deck. It's a Popeye inspired tarot deck. Obviously, Popeye went out of the of copyright. Was it early this year? And so, of course, people are doing Popeye stuff left, right, and center. This deck actually looks quite nice. It is not AI generated. The artist is credited as having drawn everything from scratch, and it's been described as having quite emotional imagery. And having seen some of these, I kind of agree. It's clearly a Rider-Waite-Smith inspired. And yeah, anyway, I kind of like this art style. I think that the creators have done a good job here at conveying the meaning of each card. Yeah, using the characters and the art style of Popeye the Sailor Man. Why not? Good. All right. And then we've got an Oracle deck that I thought was kind of beautiful. Once again, no AI used. Yeah, I'm more and more attracted to good quality Oracle decks. I find it very rare to find Oracle decks where I appreciate the artwork, and I also appreciate the range of human experiences, I guess, depicted on the cards. And this seems like a nice thick deck with plenty of possible combinations and quite beautiful artwork. Yeah, human from the soul artwork. Yeah, so I particularly like these. So yeah, you can check out the details down below. I think the deck itself for a signed copy is $50, which is a reasonable price for a nice deck. Good. And then my board game of the week is Kryptothera. Hunt cryptids in a stunning Art Deco world. How could I not spot this one? It's like, I don't know, it's like Pokemon or possibly Ghostbusters or Monsters Inc. Yeah, maybe Monsters Inc. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, you're going around hunting cryptids in order to power a city. Yeah, because you're using their energy to provide power for the city. The art style is beautiful. It's an Art Deco design, but each of the cards are hand drawn by award-winning content creators and designers and stuff like this. Lots and lots of expansions that you can spend a huge amount of money on, obviously. I like the fact that they have focused on making the game fun and easy to set up, but replayable many times. So yeah, that's something that I always appreciate, is when I don't have to spend like literally sometimes over 20 hours learning rules from a 70-page rule book. I really do appreciate when I can learn the rules in maybe an hour, and I can teach those rules in maybe 10 minutes, and get started with a game, right? That's something that I really appreciate, and don't necessarily have to ask my guests, hey, a week in advance, hey, you're going to need to find quite a bit of time to read this thick rule book before we get started, because it'll take at least 3 hours to explain. So no, that doesn't seem to be the case here. And I think that their focus on making the game beautiful and playable and enjoyable and simple, right? Also simple to set up and simple to tear down. That's important, because they've got a few games that are a lot of fun to play, but it takes an hour and a half to set it up. And then at the end of the evening, when all my guests have left, it's another maybe 40 minutes putting the stuff away. So yeah, I this looks like fun, maybe. All right. That's what I've got for you for today, folks. Thank you so much for joining me again. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Do subscribe if you'd like to see more of these. And if you'd like to have a one-to-one conversation with me, that's always available. I'll read your tarot. We'll talk about books that could be good for you on your personal path right now at this particular point in your life, to move your practice forward, maybe. If you're curious about anything that's going on in your life, some strange things have happened and you'd like some understanding on what that was, or how you should respond to it, those kinds of things, don't hesitate. The links to have a one-to-one conversation can be found down in the description below and in the pinned comment as well. Just thank you so much to all the supporters of the channel, everyone who has taken the trouble to go to Patreon and to join also on the YouTube memberships. I tend to get a slightly higher cut of Patreon memberships, so yeah, just if that makes any difference to you, just thank you so much to everyone who keeps this channel alive with your support, and I feel that personally, that it really it's wonderful. Thank you so much. And of course it makes this content available to a wider public, and so thank you on their behalf as well. All right, that's really it from me for this week. Do take care of yourselves, do take care of each other. I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye bye.